Okay, so I took a week off. I couldn't do it anymore. All the all the talking about Charlie Kirk was getting to me, and it was not great for my mental health. I was getting depressed. I was getting very sad. Um, so I had to take a little bit of time off. So I took a couple of days off, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna finish off the rest of the week because it was my birthday, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna say hell with it, and I'm just gonna hang out at home and chill and not do anything extra. So I did that, and boy, did the world burn down while I was gone. I feel like I say that every time I take more than a day or two off. Um, it looks like Newsom's trying to start a civil war. Is anyone surprised, though? I mean, Newsom has been on his campaign for presidency for how long now, and he is willing to do or say just about anything to get attention. ICE is going to ignore Newsom, which could be the catalyst for a civil war in this country. There was an anti-ICE shooter in Dallas who I believe killed one, injured two agents. I think. Let me check. Killed one person, injured two others. Um, Trump designated Antifa a terror organization, and Ryan Ralph, the guy that camped out at Mar-a-Lago and tried to kill Trump, he tried to kill himself in court. So yeah, that I don't know what's. I think there's dark times upon us. I really do. I think I don't want to say that I think this is the beginning of the end, but I think that things are going to get real crazy. I really do. Especially when you see the mainstream media still continuing with this rhetoric, the bullshit and the lies that they push. The, oh, this person's a Nazi, this person's a fascist, this person's racist. They continue to push that stuff, and it is going to escalate this over and over and over again. Time and time again, we're going to see this. We've seen attempts on Donald Trump's life. We've seen Charlie Kirk murdered on, well, I was going to say on national television, but we watched it live on the internet. Hold on one second. This is really bright over here. That's a little bit better. It's very bright. I got the window open, and it's very bright over there. We saw Charlie Kirk murdered live. We've seen attacks on police. We've seen attacks on ICE. We've seen now Gavin Newsom is trying to legally go after ICE in a way that he has no jurisdiction. He can't do anything about it because, believe it or not, governors are state level officials. ICE is federal level. We're probably going to talk the most about that. That's probably going to be the biggest thing we talk about. So I'm gonna move some of these stories around real quick so that we can. Uh, yeah, that's probably going to be the biggest story we talk about. Is the Gavin Newsom thing. So where do I want to put those? I'll put these last because I have two stories there that kind of piggyback off of each other. So we'll dive into the first story here. We'll get into Trump designating Antifa a terror organization, which I don't think goes far enough. I think we need to see Black Lives Matter. I think we need to see more groups designated as terror organizations. But we have here from The Guardian Trump signs order designating Antifa a domestic terror organization. And what does that mean? Well, I believe that means that I don't know if Trump can use the military to go after Antifa, but I know that gives Trump a lot more power to go after Antifa. Um, it's pretty obvious Antifa is the most fascist. Like if you had a sliding scale of fascist organizations, it would be like all the way over here at the top right would be Antifa. Like they are the most like believe what I say or I'm going to kill you is the most fascist opinion you can have, and that is Antifa in a nutshell. Let's read. Let's read. Donald Trump signed an executive order on Monday that designates Antifa a domestic terror organization, reviving a controversial pledge from his first presidency in the wake of Charlie Kirk's killing on September 10th. See everything, every story is got Charlie Kirk in it. Antifa is a militaristic, anarchist enterprise that explicitly calls for the overthrow of the United States government, law enforcement authorities, and our system of law, the order reads. I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. And then again, they say this move comes after the killing of far-right commentator Charlie Kirk in Utah. Literally, the rhetoric doesn't ever end. This is why I stopped, because I was so overwhelmed with what happened to Charlie Kirk. And I know I sound like I knew the guy, but like I watched it, I didn't have time to process it, and then I started covering it. And then I kept covering it. And I kept covering it. And I kept covering it. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna, it's not gonna be the news in a couple days. We'll go back to regular news, and then I'll be able to process this. And it has continued to be the biggest story for weeks. But this rhetoric right here, Trump didn't designate Antifa a terror organization because Charlie Kirk was murdered. They're trying to make it sound like that's what happened, but that's not what happened. Trump designated Antifa a terror organization because they're terrorists. It just so happened that after Charlie was murdered, he was like, okay, enough is enough. We need to get serious. And to prove that this continues, this will always continue. Here we have, who was Joshua John, shooter in deadly ICE facility attack? Now, there have been, I think, 4 or 5 major ICE attacks in the past, 2 months? I mean, if this isn't, I don't want to sit here and pound my fist with this is civil war, but man, it really seems like this is civil war. So this is from Fox News. It says sources familiar with the investigation into Dallas immigration facility shooting identified Wednesday's alleged attacker as Joshua John, 29. The gunman killed 1 person and injured 2 others after opening fire on a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility from a nearby building before taking his own life. Police say the agency earlier mistakenly said 2 detainees had been killed. John fired indiscriminately at the ICE building as well as at a van in the Sallyport where the victims were shot. The Department of Homeland Security said the 3 detainees were in an unmarked transport van where they were shot before John took his own life around 7 a.m., according to the sources. He was found dead with a rifle on a nearby rooftop, authorities said. I don't want to show the piece of shit because fuck that guy. John may have been living in Durant, Oklahoma at the time of the shooting, according to records. That's what we're looking into. Dallas Police Chief David Comio. It's French, so I don't care if I say it wrong. Comiox. I don't know how to say your name, David. I'm sorry. I call you David out of respect, but in the future, try not to be French, all right? Listen, there's 2 groups of people I overtly make fun of all the time, and that's British people and French people. And if you don't like that, sucks to suck. Wednesday's shooting happened only miles from Alvaro, Texas. That's not Alvaro. That's Alvarado, Texas. Learn how to read. Where just 2 months ago, an individual ambushed a separate ICE facility targeting officers. In total, 16 people have been charged in the ambush-style shooting of an Alvarado police officer who was responding to reports of vandalism at the authority. So we got 16 people in the ambush, and then we have this lone gunman. And here we have written in the stripper clip on one of the rounds, anti-ICE. And yes, that is actually a clip. So a lot of people will call this a clip. This is a magazine. Magazines fully encase the rounds, except for the top, obviously, where they pick up the round. So this is a magazine. Note how the round is fully encased. Yeah, that's a stripper clip. There are other styles of clips. The M1 Garand uses what's called an M block clip. Their clips are a thing. This is not a clip. I cannot stand that, and if people don't get that distinction down, it really bothers me. Sorry about the tangent. Anyway, we've got the round in the stripper clip where he's written anti-ICE on it. This was clearly a political move. This was clearly somebody who has heard over and over and over again, ICE are terrorists, ICE are Nazis, ICE are disappearing people. This is something that was pushed by the rhetoric. And this was a lone gunman trying to kill ICE agents. It's something that's been pushed by the rhetoric. The rhetoric will not stop. The conflict and escalation will not either. If the rhetoric doesn't end, the conflict and escalation won't either. The left is never going to give up this rhetoric. They're never going to stop lying. They're full of shit and they know it. They're in too deep to give up on this. They're going to keep doubling down. Let's talk about Ralph for a minute. This dude's a piece of shit, and I really like, for people like him, exile. Just exile him. Like, you can't come back here. You can go do whatever in some third world country if they'll take you. Whatever they want to do with you, if they want to bury you under the courthouse, if they want to use you as slave labor, I don't care what they do with you, but I don't want to pay for this piece of shit to live in prison here. So again, from Fox News, Trump golf club gunman found guilty after assassination attempt. Tries to stab self in court. It's wild. That is insane. Jurors on Tuesday delivered a guilty verdict for Ryan Ralph on all charges after he attempted to assassinate then presidential candidate Donald Trump at his West Palm Beach golf club last September. So if you don't remember, Ralph was the guy that was hiding he had a sniper hide set up on Mar-a-Lago, and Secret Service saw the muzzle of his gun pointing through the fence, and then they apprehended him. There was a big debate. Was it an AK? Was it an SKS variant? And I honestly forget. I do believe it was some sort of 7.62 by 39 platform. I don't think... Oh, actually, I have one of those. So here I have a 7.62 by 39 round. Maybe. Apparently, I can't do paper today. So it was something shooting this round. This is a 7.62 by 39. It is the common round in the AK-47 style. Pretty much any communist assault rifle platform is going to be shooting this. They also shoot a 5.45, which is more similar to our 5.56 round. And just to put the two in comparison, 7.62, 5.56. You can see the 5.56 a little bit. They're about the same height, but the real difference is in the bullets themselves. This is a much beefier round than the 5.56. The 5.56 actually shoots this is a 22 caliber bullet, and if you don't know, this is the only part that comes out of the gun. This here on the 7.62, it's a 30 caliber round. This is a 22 caliber round on the 5.56. A little bit different. Not saying one's better than the other. I prefer 5.56 because it's easier to get and more people have it, and I can walk into any gun store and walk out with 5.56. 7.62 by 39, it's getting expensive and it's getting hard to come by. So, and that's probably because of shortages, because of, Russia, Ukraine, and shit like that. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, he was using some sort of 7.62 by 39 platform. A lot of people thought it was an AK. I think it was a modified SKS, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that, but I do believe it was a modified SKS. I don't think it was an AK. I think I was wrong on that. Because I thought it was an AK at first, but I think that looking back, it did end up being an SKS. Regardless, that's not the important part. The important part is this dude set up a sniper hide and waited for Trump to walk to a certain hole where he was going to attempt to assassinate Donald Trump. And this was that after Trump had been shot, or was it right before Trump got shot? I think it was after. I think it was the twink, and then this guy. Well, this guy's a twink too. Ryan Routh is a fucking twink. The other guy was a twink. A lot of twinks trying to kill people. You notice that? The guy that killed Charlie Kirk was a fucking twink. Maybe twinks are the problem. Like, maybe that's the issue. I don't know. Anyway, after the verdict was read, Routh reportedly tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen before 4 U.S. Marshals restrained him. His daughter, Sarah Routh, reportedly stood up and said, "Don't do anything. I will get you out." What the fuck? Fuck. He didn't hurt anybody. This is not fair. This is all rigged. You guys are assholes. The jury was still in the room at the time. Routh was charged on 5 federal criminal counts, including attempting to assassinate a major presidential candidate, assaulting a federal officer, and multiple firearms offenses. These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison. And here's where I start to disagree, because why are my tax dollars paying for this twink to be in prison? Like let's just exile this dude. Like, you just can't be here ever again. If we catch you here ever again, we're gonna fucking send you off to the wood chipper, I guess. I don't know. Like, just exile this dude. It's so much cheaper to put him on a plane and tell him, if you come back, we'll kill you. I really think we need to bring back exile. So for the next, 59, call it 60 for argument's sake, for the next 20 or so years, we have to pay for this fucking twink to live. So my children will be paying for this twink. Your children will be paying for him. My nieces and nephews will be paying for him to live comfortably in a jail cell. Yeah, no, fuck that. Like, send this dude to the island of misfit toys or whatever. I don't care what really happens to him. Just get him the hell out of here. I mean, like, why? Jurors deliberated for several hours before returning with the court verdicts. The update comes after nearly a 3-week trial. Prosecutors used the bulk of their closing arguments Tuesday to emphasize both the digital and forensic evidence presented at a trial. What they described as Routh's clear intent to kill Trump. They noted the 1/7 reconnaissance trip he allegedly made to Trump's golf course, and what they described as excessive stalking of Trump prior to September 15th, 2024. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious this dude wanted to kill Trump. I mean, he was there posted up in a sniper hide with a rifle. It's pretty obvious he wanted to kill Trump. This stuff, I really do believe this is the beginning of a civil war, or the middle of a civil war. Even after Fort Sumter, people didn't think there was a civil war going on. It took a long time for people to be like, oh shit, this is a war. I think we're in it already. And to back that up, let's read here. From the Independent Sentinel. Governor Gavin Newsom thinks he can order federal officers to remove their masks. California will be the first state to ban most law enforcement, including federal immigration agents, from covering their faces while conducting official businesses under a bill signed by Governor Gavin Newsom on Saturday. Now, let's ask one quick question. Why do ICE agents feel the need to cover their faces? Is it because they know that the left will dox them, find their homes, and attack their families? Yeah, that probably is it. It's probably that. Because I don't think they're just some fucking goon squad rolling around ready to just disappear people that look brown. I don't think that's what it is. I think they have actionable intel on illegal immigrants. They're rolling up illegal immigrants, and they know that the left is pro-illegal immigrant. And if they get doxxed, the left will attack their family. The left will attack their homes. They're wearing masks to protect the people they love. I don't think if you're someone who works for ICE or any sort of law enforcement, I'm pretty sure you're the kind of guy that's like, hey, I'm good. I can take care of myself. However, I don't want my home burned down where my child sleeps. I don't want my wife to have to worry about a brick coming through the window at 2 a.m. followed by a Molotov cocktail while I'm off at work. I really think the issue here is not, oh, I gotta hide my identity to protect myself. I think it's I gotta hide my identity to protect the people I care about. Let's continue. Immigration officers have clear identifying tags on their uniforms. No one needs to see their faces or get their names unless something goes wrong. Oh, unless, of course, they want to dox them. The ban is California's direct response to a recent series of immigration raids in Los Angeles where federal agents wore masks while making mass arrests. A raid prompted a days-long protest across the city and led President Donald Trump to deploy National Guard troops and Marines to the area. The new law prohibits neck gaiters, ski masks, and other facial coverings for local and federal officers, including immigration enforcement agents, while they conduct official business. It makes exceptions for undercover agents, medical masks such as N95 respirators, or tactical gear. It doesn't apply to state police. So essentially, we have Gavin Newsom here saying your only ICE is not allowed to wear these masks. Essentially, Gavin Newsom is saying, I will dox you. I will tell Antifa where you live. I will tell the radical extremists on the left who you are, where you live, and I will let them attack you. I will let them burn your house down. I will let them kill you and your family because I don't agree with what you're doing. So what's the response? Well, here we have it from Newsweek. ICE vows to ignore Gavin Newsom mask ban. As they should, because Gavin Newsom has no authority to tell federal law enforcement what they can and can't do. Gavin Newsom is a state governor. Gavin Newsom cannot control federal agents. He's got no say over what they do. The Department of Homeland Security said it will defy California's the Department of... You drop out of high school in fucking 11th grade and you think you know how to read at least a little bit. The Department of Homeland Security has said it will defy California's new No Secret Police Act, which restricts law enforcement officers from masking their identities during operations. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill on Saturday that prohibits local and federal enforcement officers from wearing ski masks, neck gaiters, and other face coverings while performing official duties. What is this? Go away. Governor Gavin Newsom is fanning the flames of division, hatred, and dehumanization of our law enforcement. At a time that ICE law enforcement faces are a 1,000% increase in assaults and their family members are being doxxed and targeted, the sitting governor of California signs unconstitutional legislation that strips law enforcement of protections in disgusting, diabolical fundraising and PR stunt. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin Tricia said in a press release. She added, he signed this piece of legislation on the same day his team made menacing threats against Secretary Kristi Noem online. The violent rhetoric and dehumanization must stop. To be crystal clear, we will not abide by Newsom's unconstitutional bans. This is what I'm talking about. It is so nice to see people saying, you are furthering these issues, and we're not going to put up with it. You are furthering people trying to assault people. You're furthering people trying to kill people because they're doing their job, and we're not putting up with it. No, Gavin Newsom, you are not in charge here. Now, for those of you that don't know, Gavin Newsom has been on a campaign trail for 6, 7, 8 months now, something like that. I don't know, since February, March-ish. It's been fairly obvious that Gavin Newsom is running for president. He hasn't said it yet, but it's pretty obvious that Gavin's running for president. The way he talks about Trump, the tough guy demeanor he's been trying to put out, it's pretty obvious Gavin's running for president. He hasn't announced it yet. I think he's waiting to see what happens because he's a big coward. But he's trying. He's trying. He's making a go of it. And a lot of people say, oh, Gavin Newsom would never get elected. I disagree. I think Gavin Newsom has a good chance of getting elected because Gavin Newsom is that used car salesman that will tell you whatever you want to hear. He's a slippery, slimy snake. I can't stand the man, quite honestly. I would love to fight Gavin Newsom. I mean, it wouldn't even be fair. That dude hasn't done a hard day's work ever in his life. He is such a he is the twink lord. Gavin Newsom's so pathetic, honestly. But he's been on this tirade of, oh, Trump did this and Trump can't do this. I'm going to stand up to Trump. Trump said this. I'm standing up to Trump. It's been this I'm standing up to Trump thing for, like I said, 6, 7, 8 months. And this is his next step. Because when law enforcement says, yeah, Gavin, you're not the boss of us. We're not going to do your stupid bullshit. He's going to say, Donald Trump has commanded his goons to directly defy the law in this country. We won't tolerate that. We will stand up to Donald Trump and his goons. We will stand up to Donald Trump and his army of unconstitutional, unjust, hateful, evil, every buzzword you can think of, Gavin will use. Every one of them. All of them. He will use them. Gavin Newsom is a dirtbag. He's a scumbag. I can't stand him. Here's the rub. Will Gavin Newsom arrest federal agents? I think yes. I really think yes. I think the answer is fairly simple. Of course Gavin Newsom would have federal agents arrested. Why wouldn't he? It looks really good for him on his campaign trail. Would Gavin Newsom have federal agents arrested for not complying with an unlawful order? Yes. And when Trump goes to Gavin Newsom and says, you will release these men, you will release, these are federal law officers, you will release them, they don't have to listen to you, they operate above you. Gavin Newsom will say, I arrested these people and Donald Trump forced me to release them from prison. Or, even farther, Trump will say, Gavin, release them or I'm arresting you. And then Gavin will say, Donald Trump is trying to arrest his political opponent. Donald Trump is trying to arrest a Democrat, not just any Democrat, the Democrat governor of the largest state, which isn't true, or the largest economy, I believe is what they say. I think that's what Gavin says. Um, he'll say Donald Trump is trying to arrest his political opponents because he's already saying it. So when it's Gavin that's getting arrested, he's going to double down and say Donald Trump is trying to arrest his political opponents. Donald Trump will put his political opponents in jail to further his dangerous rhetoric. It's what they do over and over and over again. The left projects. I know I'm pushing dangerous rhetoric by calling you a Nazi, a fascist, a racist, insert term here. I know that I'm doing that. So what am I going to say? Well, Donald Trump calls me mean names. Donald Trump calls me mean names because Donald Trump wants people to come hurt me. Donald Trump wants me to be afraid. That's why Donald Trump calls me new scum. He wants me to be afraid. He wants me to be afraid that someone's going to do something to me. Meanwhile, the left is sitting there calling fucking J.D. Vance, who is vanilla pudding. The dude is so bland, he is vanilla pudding. They're calling J.D. Vance Hitler. I have never heard J.D. Vance say anything even remotely offensive. J.D. Vance is like very milquetoast, middle of the road. Like he's not an offensive or divisive figure. But because he is Donald Trump's vice president, they sit there and say J.D. Vance is actually Hitler. He is reincarnated of Hitler. He will forever be Hitler. And it's like, they have done this since, I don't know, I think it was like 1950. Everyone they disagree with is Hitler. Like, I think it might not even have been 1950. It might have been like 48. Like, immediately after Hitler died, they were just like, everyone we disagree with is Hitler. Like, the left adopted that tactic really early on. They've been holding on to that one tight. Everyone we don't like is Hitler. Everyone we disagree with is Hitler. And if you don't agree with that, guess what? You're Hitler. Is that okay with you, Nazi? Is that okay with you, Adolf? You want to be Hitler? You want to be fucking Hitler, bro? Disagree with me. You're Hitler. And they've done it since the 40s, 50s. Like, it has been nonstop. I don't agree with this person. They're a Nazi. They're a fascist. Whatever. Pick a word. They've used all of them since the 40s, since the 50s. It is insane to me that it's taken a long time for that to turn violent. It's taken a long time for them calling everybody Hitler to turn fuck. It's taken a long time for them calling everybody Hitler to turn violent. But I wonder if we had the social media that we have back in the 40s, if we had the social media we have today back in the 40s, would it have turned violent sooner? Because, maybe a couple 100,000 people saw CNN call, presidential candidates Hitler for 40 years. Then we get to the 80s and the 90s with the 24-hour news stream, and it's millions of people see it. And then we get to the 2000s with the 24-hour news stream, and we have the internet, and it's like literally everybody on the planet has seen Trump get called Hitler. So the divide, originally it was this, and then over time it has gradually grown farther because more and more people see this. And more people say, well, if you're a liberal and you call me Hitler, I don't want to be friends with you. And more people say, well, if you're a conservative, you're Hitler, and I don't want to be friends with you. And so the divide has gotten farther because more people see it. The more people see it, the more the divide grows. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more people see it, the worse it gets. The worse it gets, the more people see it. Because the worse it gets, the more it gets reported on. So this divide continues to grow. The tactic has been the same since the 40s. Almost 80 years, they have used the same tactic. I'm going to call you a Nazi. I'm going to call you Hitler. I'm going to call you a fascist, whatever, because I disagree with you. The left has used the same tactic for almost 80 years. We've sat there and taken it for 80 years. When do we say, hey, we know what you're doing? Like, we know you've used this tactic for almost 100 years. Why do you continue to do this? It's absurd. It blows my mind. It really does. It really does. I want to pivot for a minute and I want to talk about, since we are in this period of civil strife, if not civil war, I just want to talk real briefly about something that I've been wanting to learn for a long time, and that is land navigation. So if you're like me and you want to be a prepared citizen and you want to be ready for when things go sideways, or if you're just an adventurer of sorts and you enjoy being in the outdoors, what I would propose is learning some land navigation. Now, this is a 1 in 50,000 scale map of Moab, Utah. This isn't the entirety of Moab. This is just a handful of roads and trails. What you would do with this is you can measure these grid squares. Each one of these grid squares is 1,000 meters, 1 kilometer. You've got your magnetic declination. You have your distance that you can measure off of a compass or a protractor, and you can plot points and navigate to your heart's content off of this map if you learn how. Now, Grand Thumb has a great video on land navigation. It's very detailed, it's very in-depth. He was a SEER instructor, so a big part of survival, evasion, resistance, and escape is knowing how to land navigate. So, very good source material if you want to learn some land navigation. He does it on video. He shows you how to measure. It's a really good video. This website that I'm using is called CalTopo, caltopo.com. Very simple. You live in the United States, we'll say you live in Florida, and you want to land navigate through Florida. Is there even a landmass in Florida that doesn't, like, is Florida just all fucking cities? What do we got here? All right, so we'll use this. So to get a MGRS map, military grid reference system, you go to settings and you can click show UTM USNG grid. That shows you your grid. And then we're going to go click on the little print. We're going to move this little red box to our area. We're going to pick our scale. In some cases, you would want 1 in 25,000. In some cases, you want 1 in 50,000. It depends on, do you want a big area or a smaller area? 1 in 25,000 is obviously a smaller area, as you can see. We'll bump it up to 1 in 50,000. And you can see how it's much bigger, much bigger. So we'll just put this here just for argument's sake, and then we'll punch in on it. We'll punch out and click. So this will show you, I mean, this looks relatively flat, so this would be kind of hard to navigate, but I digress. If this is your area that you're going to be camping, whatever, you click generate PDF, and it will give you a PDF that you can print out on a color printer on a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You will have a full map ready to navigate, just like that. And this is, everything's adjusted so that you can navigate properly off of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Gives you, again, your magnetic declination so that you can find true north, because north doesn't exist, because the earth is obviously flat. North doesn't exist on a flat earth. That makes no sense. I mean, obviously. Now, I'm kidding. The reason that true north isn't, the reason you have to find true north is because the earth, the plates of the earth move around, and that creates magnetic fields that fluctuates your needle on your compass, and you have to adjust for that. I mean, it's science. Anyway, take this PDF, load it on a flash drive, whatever. Go to anywhere that has a color printer, print this out. You now have a map of the area you want to be in, and you can do this for just about anywhere. I believe you can even do it in other countries. Let's punch out here and let's go to Bolivia. Does it work in Bolivia? I believe it does. And we'll go print. Go here, 150 thousandths, generate PDF. And you'll see waterways, you'll see roads, you'll see your, what are the lines called for elevation? Do I have those turned on? Whoops. Yeah, so you want to set your contours at 40 feet. So here you can see all these contours, all this elevation here, all this elevation change. And when you go into, okay, maybe it's not going to, anyway, these are your contour lines, these orange lines here. So yeah, you can make maps for just about anywhere in the world. Oh yeah, I was looking at these. I'm going to build this. This is the Car 15 from Blood Diamond. I'm going to build this one day. I do enjoy. I do enjoy. It is very nice rifle. But yeah, so you can, with CalTopo, you can build a map for literally anywhere, and you can learn how to land navigate. And if things are getting spicy, learn how to land navigate is probably not a bad thing to know. So learn it. If you're not that kind of person, then whatever. But it's probably a good thing to know, and you should probably at least make an effort to learn it. Because if civil war comes, you never know when you're going to need it. And I would rather understand it at least a little bit and not really need it than really need it and not understand it. The only thing I kind of struggle with is the magnetic declination. I kind of get the gist of everything else. The magnetic declination fucks me up a little bit because you have to compensate, and I forget which way you have to compensate. So I don't remember. I got to rewatch the video a couple times and really listen when they're talking about magnetic declination. Overall, though, I really do think that the time to start training and preparing is now. I don't think this slows down. I think that we are in a major civil strife, if not an all-out civil war. We have one side, the left, that is blatantly trying to kill us. They are targeting our churches, our schools. They're targeting our children. They're targeting our community leaders. They're targeting people like Charlie Kirk. They're targeting police officers. They're targeting ICE. They're targeting everyone that they disagree with. And I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to get shot over my opinion. I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to stop. I didn't stop because I was afraid. I stopped because I needed time to come to terms with what happened, really. I just couldn't come to terms with the fact that they killed Charlie Kirk. I was having a hard time getting a grip on that. And the fact that it just kept getting brought up over and over and over again was wait, what? Every time it was oh yeah, fuck, that happened. Just over and over again, time and time again, it was oh yeah, that happened. Oh yeah, that happened. Every day. It seems so unreal. And now that I've had a little bit of time to process it, I'm okay. I still don't like it. I still don't like talking about it, but it's real. It happened, and we can't do anything about it except honor Charlie's memory, and we need to move on and double down, and we need to put an end to this. We need to do it non-violently through the legal system if we can. But in the event that it comes to your doorstep, you need to be trained and ready to either evade the situation totally, or you need to be able to defend your own. You need to be able to defend you and yours. Now, I am of the opinion that, especially because medicine's going to be tough to get, things like antibiotics are going to be hard to get. Going out and looking for a fight, probably not a good idea. It's probably not a good answer to the situation. For most of us, the average person, your best bet is avoidance. You should be working on bushcraft skills now. You should be working on evasion skills. You should be working on survival skills. You should be learning how to camouflage yourself. Just yesterday, went to the range, my wife and my IT guy, and I took full kit because I always take my plate carrier because it's always loaded up with mags. So I always just throw my plate carrier in the back of the Jeep and we go. I take my gun belt because my gun belt has a tourniquet and med kit on it. So I always have this within. If it's not on me, it's within hand's reach because tourniquet must have if you're shooting, especially because where we shoot, we're shooting in the woods. I mean, we're not near a hospital. Like we need if something happens, first aid needs to be immediate. So a lot of the time when I'm out shooting, I am wearing my gun belt. If I'm not wearing a plate carrier, a chest rig, something that has medical gear on it, on top of just I have spare mags. So if I'm running drills or whatever, I'm not worried about it. If I run out of ammo in the middle of a drill, it just makes the drill a little bit harder. But after the fact, after we were done shooting, I wanted to do some camo work, and I learned your neck is a very obvious point. I had black shirt, camo pants. My plate carrier is just tan. It's like a brownish. My gun belt, it's a mixed match of colors. There's some camo on it. It's got greens and browns, and it's just kind of whatever. It's camo enough for a gun belt. I mean, it's not like all black, but my wife was able to see me hiding in the brush because my neck and my cheeks and my nose stuck out. All it took was a little bit of mud. Rubbed some mud on my arms. I rubbed some mud on my cheeks and my nose, and I rubbed some mud on my neck. And I was able to go into that same thicket. And she kind of knew where to look because I was using the same spot. And obviously, I wanted her to know where to look. And she said straight up, like, if I was just walking by and I didn't know you were there, I would never have seen you. The only reason she saw me is because she knew what she was looking for and where she was looking for. Like, at one point, she saw my elbow. She's like, I wouldn't have seen you if I didn't know you were there. Like, if someone was just walking or riding a bike or something through that trail, she was like, yeah, I wouldn't have noticed you. I would have never seen you. Even if I would have stopped to look, I probably wouldn't have seen you. Knowing that you were there, though, I can see your elbow. I can see a little bit of your neck. And so it was, and I'll post some pictures, but if you're trying to disguise yourself, if you're trying to hide really well, these loops in your molly, you can just take foliage and slide it in here. And it will help break up, so another thing she saw was my shoulders because I was wearing black. I can jam tree branches in here that poke out this way, and it will help conceal the shape of my shoulder. It's not about making yourself invisible. It's just about breaking up that outline. You're trying to break up. People are used to looking for people. We engage with people every day. We look for people. We look for faces. We look for certain things every day. We're used to looking for a face. If you see a face, oh, hey, that's a face. So I would recommend a boonie hat because these loops are specifically for putting in sticks and little tree branches and things like that to break up the round shape of your head. A little bit of camo on your cheeks and your nose, and if you're clean shaven, you can really go all the way down. Give a nice swoop and a nice swoop. But my wife was saying, the beard kind of like cut my face off, basically. She could see my cheeks and my nose. She was having a hard time finding, she saw this. She didn't really see this too much because it just looked like a dark spot in the trees and weeds. Add some foliage in here. You can even add some foliage into your mully down here. If you really wanted to go all out, you can bring some tape, nothing reflective, and you can tape it to your kit, whatever. You can stuff foliage in anywhere. Look, here's space here. I can stick a tree branch in here, hide this knife a little bit. You're not making yourself invisible. You're just making yourself harder to see as a person. It's like when you camo a rifle. You're not trying to make the rifle invisible. You're just trying to break up the outline of a rifle. Anyway, I digress. It is good to be back. I hope you all begin training rather seriously. This is not something that's going to end anytime soon. This is something that's going to continue. It's going to be bad. It's going to get real bad. We need to start training. We need to start preparing. We need to start getting ready for a very serious time of civil conflict. I don't know where the off-ramp is. A lot of people have asked, where is the off-ramp? How do we get out of this? Nobody wants this. I think we've long passed it. There is no off-ramp anymore. We're on this roller coaster and we just got to ride it out. And unfortunately, that means there's probably going to be more political violence. That means there's probably going to be more political killings. That means there's probably going to be people on the right beginning to commit these same acts. I believe we are in a point of major conflict now. I don't know if it's an all-out civil war, but they didn't know it was an all-out civil war when Gettysburg happened. I think it was the first Battle of Bull Run. People picnicked. A lot of people did not realize this is war. And I don't know if we're in that point right now or if we are... I don't know if we're there yet or not. I don't know if we're in a war or if we're just in a period of civil strife. Bleeding Kansas was a thing where... was it John Brown? I forget. Anyway, there was a bunch of conflict in Kansas around slave ownership and things of that nature. It was a period of major strife called Bleeding Kansas. I think it took 10 years from Bleeding Kansas to the first Battle of Bull Run. I think it was like a 10-year period. Are we in that 10-year period? Is that 10-year period long past? I don't know. I hope the answer is this all comes to a peaceful end, but I don't think the answer is going to be that. I'm hopeful. I'm not. I don't see it happening though. Anyway, that's all I have for you. This has been an hour. I guess I'm happy to be back. I was kind of going a little stir crazy, not knowing what to do after I got off work. So I'm glad to be back. That's all I got. I'll leave it there. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.